Hey there, Eli here. This is an unscheduled video. I wasn't planning on doing one today, but something happened that I just feel like I gotta talk about. I apologize if there is music or buzzing or anything coming through the mic. My neighbors have their music up. I'm not gonna go tell them to turn it down or anything because it's not their fault we're stacked on top of each other like sardines. They have every right to listen to music if they want to, so I'm just gonna suffer through it. What some of you may know, and a lot of you probably don't, is that I'm a veteran. I was in the Navy for 6 years. I got out in 2012. And something big happened today in military circles. The Army fired a bunch of officers from Fort Hood after an investigation of 25 deaths that were related to violence and sexual assault and murder. It's a really crazy story, and you guys should check this out. But I wanted to talk about this because what a lot of people don't realize is how pervasive this sort of thing is in the military. It's not just Fort Hood. It's not just a few bad apples. It's not like something that we can solve just by kicking people out. This is a huge systemic problem. It's pervasive. It's throughout the entire military. And there are policies in place that make it the way it is. And I want to talk about one of those policies because when I was in and I first heard about this, it still sticks out in my brain how just appalling it was. And so let's talk about it. So I'm going to talk about sexual assault reporting procedures in the military. There are two ways to report sexual assault in the military. You can either submit a restricted report or an unrestricted report. Restricted reports are basically fucking useless. They do give you access to things you should always just already have access to, like advocacy services and counseling and like medical services, but they don't do anything. They don't investigate anybody. They don't hold anyone accountable. They don't even really do anything to prevent it from happening again. They just ignore it, just shove it under the rug, and then send you to medical. It's so garbage. An unrestricted report is different. That's where they'll actually investigate the person who did this. They'll do a full investigation. They'll hold the person accountable. They'll prevent this from happening again. The catch is that with an unrestricted report, they have to reveal your identity, right? They try to defend this on two grounds specifically. One is that they don't tell everybody, but they tell way more people than they actually have to. I'm going to list the people that they tell. Your uniformed victim advocate, you're the person who you're going to talk to about this, usually inside your division. Your SAPA representative, that's a civilian who is going to kind of help you through this whole process. They're the one you're actually going to be reporting to. Sexual assault response coordinator, some chief or something, first class, whatever on your ship who does this. Healthcare personnel, your chaplain, your legal counsel, your chain of command, and that's the fucked up one, and law enforcement, right? So the thing is that most people who are, I'm not going to say most, but a lot of people who are sexually assaulted in the military are sexually assaulted by someone inside of their unit. They're sexually assaulted by somebody they know personally, and a lot of times it's someone above them in the chain of command. One of those people they're going to tell, right? And they might not tell them directly, but really, do you think they're not going to find out if your chief raped you and they tell your division officer? Do you really think that your division officer is not going to tell your chief, or they tell your first class, or they tell your work center supervisor? No, that shit's going to get around. This is something that anyone who's in the military knows. Like in the Navy, like especially on a small boy, if you're on a destroyer or something like I was, there are no secrets. There are 300 and something people on that boat. It's like living in the smallest town ever, right? If they go around telling people, and it's not strictly the people who are investigating this, then it's going to get back to the person who did it, right? So that's one defense. They say we don't tell everybody. We just tell this huge fucking list of people that don't really need to know because they're not the ones doing the investigation. The second defense that they give is that, well, if your chain of command finds out and they do some kind of reprisal against you, well, that's against the UCMJ. Reprisals against the UCMJ. They can't. Rape is against the UCMJ. The asshole who did this doesn't give a fuck about the UCMJ, right? So it's the whole system is stupid. And here's the real rub about it. There's no reason for unrestricted reporting to exist. There is no reason for restricted. There is no reason for restricted reporting to exist. Restricted reporting doesn't do anything. If you report a sexual assault, it should be investigated. And if you need to like go to medical or talk to a counselor or something, you shouldn't even have to tell your command why you're doing that. You should just be able to go do that. The fact that there's what this exists for, the reason that there is a restricted reporting system is to give them a mechanism to just sweep it under the rug. It's to discourage people from reporting sexual assaults. The reason that it is there is so that you will go and file this useless performative report, and then they don't have to do anything or report that the sexual assault happened, and boom, it's just gone. But they've gotten rid of you. They've made you complacent, and now you're just going to go to work every day with the person who sexually assaulted you. It's bad. I mean, and I've seen this happen to people. It's very, very, very disheartening. And it needs to change. Now, I'm not sure exactly how to change it, because if there's any service members watching this, you know that the ability of service members to make changes within the military is very limited. Like, we do not have any sort of real recourse to, we can't strike, we don't have unions, there's no way to resist this stuff from inside. But you can resist it from outside. This is the sort of thing that we should all care about. Like, every one of you out there should be a little bit upset by this. You know, whether you like the military or not, I mean, nobody deserves to be sexually assaulted. And I mean, frankly, if you're out there and if you're out there doing this kind of work, there's a lot of other things that you have to worry about without having to worry about that too. Suicide is so high in the military. I know 2 people who killed themselves when I was in. One shot himself in the head with an M16. The other one jumped overboard. And those are not pleasant ways to go, so that tells you where their mental state was. This is a big, big, big problem. These people don't deserve this, and I think the reason there isn't more advocacy around this is that a lot of people don't know how bad it is. So, if you're in a position to do something about sexual assault in the military, I don't know what you'd do, but do it. Do it. This is bad. All right. I'm done screaming into the void now. This is Eli. Good morning and God bless.